Welcome back to Ask Allison. I'm here, as you see, with my friend Andrew Reason, and he is the CEO of Herd. We are talking about taxes and bookkeeping and all that good stuff today. But first, I want to thank our sponsors. I'd like to thank TherapyNotes. They're the #1 rated electronic health record system available today with live telephone support 7 days a week. It's clear why TherapyNotes is rated 4.9 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot and has a 5-star rating on Google. TherapyNotes makes billing, scheduling, note-taking, and telehealth incredibly easy. And for all you prescribers out there, they also offer e-prescribe. If you're coming from another EHR, TherapyNotes makes the transition incredibly easy, importing your demographic data free of charge so you can get going right away. Find out what more than 100,000 mental health professionals already know. Use promo code ABUNDANT at therapynotes.com for 2 free months. I'd also like to thank Herd. As a therapist, you're probably too preoccupied with your caseload to want to think about bookkeeping and taxes. Herd is a full-service accounting software platform built specifically for therapists that helps you track and improve your practice's financial health. Regardless of whether you're a seasoned clinician or you're in the first year of your practice, Herd will help you identify areas for growth and streamline best financial practices for your business. When you sign up with Herd, you'll work directly with financial specialists to track your income and expenses, file taxes online, and grow your business. You'll also receive financial insights such as profit and loss statements and personalized monthly reports. Say goodbye to poring over spreadsheets and guessing your tax deductions or quarterly payments. Focus on your clients, and Herd will take care of the rest. Schedule a free 15-minute consultation at joinherd.com. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, Allison. Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. I have another question for you. I want to hire a few therapists to work with me in a group practice. I'm most nervous about keeping up with the financial side of it. What advice or resources do you have?
Well, first of all, if you are bringing people into your practice, that means that you are at the point where you've grown your caseload and are looking to grow your business, which is incredibly exciting and also to be applauded. So congratulations. As it relates to setting up a group practice and ensuring that you cross the T's and dot the I's, especially when you are bringing people in, there's a legal piece of this purse that I think is important to think about. And this can be, talking to folks in your listserv or in Allison's community, understanding what is the best fee split or structure that you want to set up in the group practice, whether that's, 70-30 or 60-40 or 50-50, whatever it might be, understanding what folks typically do. And then also ensuring that you get that in writing and ensuring that you put employment agreements in place with all of the folks that you're going to be working with prior to getting into practice. So making sure that you have those employment agreements and consent forms and all of that stuff for these new folks that you're bringing in. As it relates to the financial side of things, it's probably a little bit easier than what you're feeling. When you bring somebody into your practice, let's assume that you're an S Corp and you've already set up payroll. So you've gotten through the hairiest stuff of setting up a new business entity, setting up payroll, doing the dreaded state registration with the employment department and withholding and all of that good stuff. Once you have that set up, it's going to be as simple. And, platforms like ours that's powered by Gusto or ADP or any other payroll provider out there, they've been doing this for a long time. And so they have a really good system and process in place where you're typically just going to need to add that person into your payroll platform. And once you have that decision made as to what that fee split will be, you're going to be able to pretty seamlessly bring this person on board and be able to pay them on a regular basis. The place where we've seen folks get in trouble as it relates to group practices is related to insurance payments. And so people will set up a fee split and determine that, this individual is going to be a W-2 employee and we're going to pay them out on a regular cadence. We know, and we're not going to name names of specific payers or providers, but those payments don't always come on time. And having someone in-house that's, either a contractor or full-time focused, depending on the size of the practice, chasing down those claims and making sure that they come through so that you're able to make these payments to your employees on a timely basis is a very important piece of the dialogue to be had. And building a system around that is very effective because we've seen folks that have set up an advantageous pay structure for their employees and benefits for their employees, which is incredibly awesome, but put themselves in a tough financial situation when they were paying out way ahead of when they were actually being paid themselves. So ensure that you're getting paid first and taking care of yourself as a business owner in order to be able to pay those employees, and know that you're in a place where you can do that effectively, because you don't want to put yourself or your employees in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. I think I'm a group practice owner myself, and I think about how it can get messy if you don't stay on top of things. And however you're doing your payroll, or your bookkeeping, it can be really messy, not just like, because we're a private pay practice, so we don't have to worry about people not paying on time, but just if the systems aren't kept up with by everyone involved in keeping the systems up, all of a sudden you're paying someone less than they earned, or you're not doing it on time or whatever. Like, there are systems involved that need to be kept up with. I know that you guys do bookkeeping at Herd for group practices up to a particular size. Can you talk to them about what that looks like and how y'all do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I have a question for you as well prior to talking through that. So there's this piece around, so we do what's called cash basis bookkeeping, which I would imagine you do as well. But as a business owner, you also have your EHR where you're managing your clients out of, understanding what the billings are, how many sessions each of the providers in your group practice are. What is your process for, coming to the table biweekly or monthly to manage payroll, looking at the EHR and then looking at your bookkeeping? What does that integration between those two look like, and how do you think about that?
Yeah, well, it's easy in my circumstance, honestly, just because our clients pay on time, and even if they don't, we have enough money in the business to float the clinician until they do. And we don't have problems with clinician or with clients not paying overtime. And so I literally just count the hours and enter it into payroll, and they're paid at an hourly rate. And done and dusted. It's easy. But I know that if I took insurance, or if I had more clinicians, like I keep mine intentionally small. But if I had a lot of clinicians, or if clinicians aren't great at updating their schedule, like I would not like to pay for a session that didn't happen, but it wasn't marked as canceled. I would also really, really not like to pay for a session that happened that I didn't know about. So, yeah, it's pretty easy on my end, to be honest.
That's awesome. And really, I would imagine very helpful for everybody listening as well. And as it relates to the bookkeeping piece, so we work with practices that are typically like sub 10, but honestly, a lot of these practices are like sub 5 folks, whether it's just like, associates that they've brought in, or trainees, or a couple full-time clinicians. And as it relates to the payroll piece specifically, and you probably have had this experience as well, but I think the business owner, the actual payroll piece, should always be managed and run by the actual business owner. And so from a bookkeeping standpoint, we're going to get your books up to date on a timely fashion. We're going to set payroll up and help, ensure that all of the systems are in place to deliver taxes to the places that they need to go, and help set up a proper cadence for how we want to go about paying that payroll, and the process for how you might think about looking at your employees' hours against that fee split and bringing that over. But ultimately, I think the responsibility, and we think the responsibility of actually paying the employees, should be on the business owner. And we've found that when that is the case, oftentimes the business owners are more effective as well.
Absolutely. Because I don't think that's the thing to outsource.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that.
But it really helps me see like what the numbers in the business are, in a way that if I wasn't responsible for making sure everybody can eat, when their payroll is supposed to go through, I might be like, oh yeah, I'll look at that later, because I'm like, I know it's healthy enough, but to really see what the numbers are, and have they increased or decreased, and by how much, and why is that, it has me looking more analytically at the business twice a month than I would otherwise be looking at it.
Completely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. And oh, I will also say, and I won't put you on the spot, I'll just put myself on the spot. Y'all know I have very strong feelings about 1099 versus W-2s and group practices. I feel like having looked at what the IRS has to say, it does
Yeah.
not feel that open to interpretation. It feels very common that people make people 1099 contractors. And that's what we look around and we see, and then we copy what we see. But that is not it. So please, if you are considering opening a group practice, I want you to look at like the distinctions between a S corp, I mean, not an S corp, between a 1099 contractor and a W-2 employee per the IRS, and make your own decision about what looks right. If you are supervising anyone working towards their license or helping them with a certification that you have hired, you absolutely need to make them an employee. And even if you're not, you should too.
Yeah. I could not agree more with that, Allison. Yeah.
All right. So I'll step off my soapbox that nobody asked for, and we will end this one. And I look forward to our next.